Introduction. Nobody cares. Work harder. Terry Mills. Nobody cares. Work harder is a raw, unfiltered wake-up call to anyone who has ever felt stuck, overlooked, or tempted to make excuses for why they haven't achieved their goals. The introduction immediately sets the tone by challenging the reader's mindset, forcing them to confront the harsh reality that life is not fair, success is not guaranteed, and waiting for external validation or handouts is a losing game. Mills argues that in today's world, many people fall into the trap of self-pity, blaming their upbringing, financial situation, lack of connections, or personal hardships for their failures, when the only way to overcome these obstacles is through relentless effort, discipline, and an unshakable work ethic. He does not deny that some people have to work harder than others due to their circumstances, but he insists that complaining about it does nothing to change the outcome, only action does. The book's title itself is a reflection of his tough love approach. He does not sugarcoat the truth or offer empty motivational quotes, but instead provides a framework for adopting a mindset that prioritizes grit over grievances and perseverance over pity. Mills uses personal anecdotes and real-world examples to illustrate the difference between those who make excuses and those who succeed despite the odds, emphasizing that the most successful people in any field are not necessarily the most talented, but the ones who refuse to quit, who outwork everyone else, and who push through even when things seem impossible. He challenges the reader to stop seeking sympathy and instead develop an unstoppable drive, reinforcing the idea that every setback is an opportunity to become stronger. Through the introduction, Mills lays the groundwork for a book that is not about fleeting motivation, but about cultivating a lifelong habit of working harder than everyone else, mastering discipline, and taking full responsibility for one's destiny. He argues that the only way to achieve extraordinary success is to embrace discomfort, sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gains, and adopt a mindset that refuses to accept mediocrity. Mills does not promise an easy path, quite the opposite. He warns that the journey will be painful, exhausting, and at times discouraging, but he assures readers that the rewards of relentless hard work are worth it. The introduction serves as a direct challenge to anyone who has ever doubted their ability to succeed, pushing them to realize that while talent, luck, and circumstances may play a role, nothing outweighs the power of sheer determination and the willingness to outwork everyone else. By the end of the introduction, readers are left with a choice: continue making excuses and accepting mediocrity, or step up, embrace the grind, and commit to the never-ending process of becoming the hardest worker in the room. Chapter 1: Embracing Hardship. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder serves as a powerful foundation for the book's central philosophy. Struggle is not a roadblock but a necessary path to growth and success. Mills opens the chapter by challenging the widespread belief that life should be easy or fair, emphasizing that hardship is an unavoidable part of life and that the only way to succeed is by facing it head-on rather than running from it. He argues that many people allow challenges to define them negatively, seeing setbacks as confirmation that they are not meant to succeed, when adversity is the single greatest tool for self-improvement and transformation. To embrace hardship means to accept suffering as a prerequisite for achievement, rather than as an excuse to quit. Mills draws on personal experiences and examples from successful individuals who overcame immense obstacles, not because they had an easy path, but because they refused to let difficulties deter them. He insists that struggle is a refining process. Just as metal is forged in fire, people become stronger, wiser, and more resilient through hardship. One of the biggest mistakes people make, according to Mills, is seeing failure or setbacks as reasons to stop trying, rather than as opportunities to learn and improve. He points out that the most successful people in the world, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and leaders, have all faced moments of crushing defeat, but what separates them from those who give up is their ability to endure pain and persist despite it. Mills urges readers to reframe their perspective on hardship, to see every struggle as a test of character and willpower, and to use adversity as fuel for their ambitions rather than as an excuse for inaction. He criticizes the modern culture of comfort and entitlement, arguing that too many people expect rewards without putting in the effort, and that the expectation of an easy life is the very thing holding them back. Mills encourages readers to lean into discomfort, to deliberately put themselves in difficult situations, and to cultivate the mental toughness required to push through obstacles without complaint. He emphasizes the importance of self-discipline, explaining that the ability to endure hardship without breaking down or seeking shortcuts is what separates the strong from the weak. He also addresses the psychological aspect of embracing hardship, noting that most people's fears and anxieties about failure are often exaggerated and self-imposed. Mills argues that the human mind is capable of withstanding much more than people believe, and that resilience is a muscle that can be strengthened through exposure to adversity. He shares practical strategies for developing this mindset, such as adopting a stoic approach to life, practicing gratitude for struggles instead of resenting them, and training oneself to see challenges as stepping stones rather than barriers. Mills also touches on the importance of consistency, explaining that success is not about sporadic bursts of effort but about the ability to show up and work hard every single day, even when things feel unbearable. He warns against the trap of self-pity, stating that feeling sorry for oneself is one of the most dangerous mindsets because it robs people of their power to take control of their own lives. Instead of dwelling on hardships, Mills advises readers to ask themselves what they can learn from their struggles, how they can grow from them, and how they can use them as fuel to push even harder. He also discusses the role of external criticism and negativity, explaining that those who are truly committed to success must learn to tune out the doubts, negativity, and discouragement from others. He reminds readers that most people who criticize or doubt them have never endured the level of hardship required to achieve greatness, and that their opinions should be ignored. Mills highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with like-minded individuals who also embrace adversity rather than avoid it, reinforcing the idea that mindset is heavily influenced by the people one associates with. He tells readers that hardship is not something to be feared or resented but something to be welcomed because it is the ultimate test of who they are and what they are willing to fight for. By the end of the chapter, Mills has made one thing clear. Those who succeed in life are not the ones who avoid hardship but the ones who embrace it, endure it, and use it as fuel to push themselves beyond their limits. He leaves readers with a challenge: to stop complaining, stop expecting an easy road, and instead, develop the toughness required to thrive under pressure. Chapter 2: Mindset Over Matter. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder is a deep dive into the power of mental resilience and how one's thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes ultimately determine success or failure. Mills begins by emphasizing that external circumstances, such as financial struggles, lack of resources, or unsupportive environments, are never the primary obstacles holding people back. Rather, it is their mindset that dictates how far they go in life. He argues that the most successful individuals do not necessarily have the best starting points, but they have mastered the ability to control their thoughts, push through limitations, and develop an unbreakable will to succeed. Mills challenges readers to examine their own mental narratives, pointing out that many people fail before they even begin because they have convinced themselves that they are not good enough, not capable, or not lucky enough to achieve greatness. He explains that thoughts shape actions and actions shape results, meaning that a weak, negative, or self-defeating mindset will always lead to failure, while a strong, focused, and disciplined mindset creates the foundation for success. To illustrate this, he shares examples of people who overcame extreme adversity, not because they had more opportunities, but because they refused to accept defeat mentally. He highlights stories of athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders who reprogrammed their thinking to see failure as a lesson rather than a setback, to embrace discomfort rather than avoid it, and to persist even when the odds were stacked against them. Mills discusses the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, explaining that those with a fixed mindset believe their abilities and circumstances are set in stone, whereas those with a growth mindset understand that effort, learning, and adaptability can lead to limitless improvement. He urges readers to adopt the latter, to shift their perspective from seeing challenges as obstacles to viewing them as opportunities for self-improvement. Mills also addresses the importance of self-talk, emphasizing that the words people tell themselves on a daily basis have a direct impact on their performance, motivation, and confidence. He challenges readers to eliminate self-doubt, negative affirmations, and toxic inner dialogue, replacing them with powerful action-oriented statements such as, "I am capable," "I can handle anything," and "I refuse to quit." He explains that the subconscious mind absorbs these repeated thoughts and eventually turns them into reality, which is why controlling one's mental narrative is critical. Additionally, Mills explores the role of emotional control in maintaining a strong mindset, stating that those who allow emotions like fear, anger, frustration, or disappointment to dictate their actions will always be at a disadvantage. He teaches readers how to develop mental toughness by learning to remain calm under pressure, adapt to uncertainty, and push forward regardless of emotional fluctuations. Another key concept he explores is the idea of visualization and manifestation, not in a mystical sense, but as a practical strategy for goal achievement. He explains that those who vividly picture their success, who mentally rehearse their victories, and who program their minds to believe they are capable of great things are far more likely to take the necessary actions to make those visions a reality. Mills does not downplay the difficulty of rewiring one's mindset, He acknowledges that mental discipline is a skill that must be trained daily, just like a muscle. He advises readers to be relentless in their pursuit of mental mastery, to constantly challenge their own limiting beliefs, and to seek out environments and influences that reinforce a strong, success-oriented mindset. He warns against the dangers of surrounding oneself with negative, complacent, or unambitious individuals, explaining that mindset is contagious, and being around the wrong people can weaken even the most determined individual. He encourages readers to build a mental armor that protects them from doubt, criticism, and negativity, and to always operate with the belief that success is within their control. Mills also emphasizes the power of discipline over motivation, arguing that motivation is fleeting and unreliable, whereas a strong mindset built on discipline ensures that one continues working even when they don't feel like it. He challenges readers to push through moments of self-doubt, exhaustion, and failure, knowing that the ability to persist despite obstacles is what separates those who succeed from those who fail. By the end of the chapter, Mills has driven home the idea that mindset is the ultimate determinant of success, more than talent, resources, or luck. He leaves readers with a challenge, to take full responsibility for their thoughts, to reprogram their mental habits for success, and to eliminate every trace of self-doubt, weakness, and excuse from their thinking. He reminds them that in the battle between excuses and results, mindset is the deciding factor, and those who master their minds will always come out on top. Chapter 3: No Excuses, Only Solutions. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder is a direct and relentless attack on the culture of excuse-making that prevents people from reaching their full potential. Mills begins by emphasizing that one of the biggest reasons people fail is not because they lack talent, intelligence, or resources, but because they allow excuses to dictate their actions and justify inaction. He argues that excuses are a form of self-sabotage, a mental crutch that people use to avoid taking responsibility for their own success. Whether it's blaming circumstances, bad luck, lack of opportunity, or personal hardships, Mills asserts that every excuse is ultimately a way to avoid the discomfort of doing the hard work required to change one's life. He challenges readers to recognize and eliminate every excuse they have ever used, from "I don't have enough time" to "I wasn't given the right opportunities" to "it's too hard." He explains that successful people are not those who had an easy path, but those who refused to let obstacles stop them. He highlights countless examples of individuals who overcame severe disadvantages, poverty, discrimination, disabilities, and failures, because they refused to give themselves an excuse to quit. Mills insists that if one person can overcome adversity, then there is no reason why another person cannot do the same, proving that excuses are simply lies people tell themselves to justify their lack of effort. He breaks down the psychology of excuses, explaining that they stem from fear of failure, fear of discomfort, and fear of taking full responsibility for one's own outcomes. He warns that as long as people allow excuses to control them, they will always remain stuck in the same place, watching others succeed while they remain stagnant. Instead of making excuses, Mills encourages readers to develop a problem-solving mindset, to view every obstacle as a challenge to be overcome rather than a barrier to success. He introduces the concept of radical accountability, meaning that no matter what happens, whether it's fair or not, within one's control or not, one must take full ownership of their life and find a way forward. He emphasizes that while people may face real challenges, there is always a way to improve, adapt, and push forward, no matter how difficult the situation. Mills also addresses the common excuse of time, arguing that everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, and it is not about having time but about prioritizing what matters. He calls out those who claim they are too busy but spend hours watching TV, scrolling through social media, or engaging in unproductive activities, reinforcing the idea that success is about making sacrifices and choosing discipline over distraction. Another major point he makes is that people often wait for the perfect time to start, whether it's starting a business, pursuing a fitness goal, or making a career change, when in reality there is no perfect time and waiting only leads to wasted years. He stresses the importance of taking action immediately, even if conditions are not ideal, because progress comes from movement, not from waiting. Mills also addresses financial excuses, reminding readers that many of the world's most successful individuals started with nothing and that a lack of money is not an excuse to do nothing. Rather, it is an incentive to work harder, be more resourceful, and find creative ways to move forward. He dismantles the idea that people need ideal conditions to succeed, arguing that those who win in life are the ones who adapt and find solutions instead of wasting time complaining. Another crucial element of this chapter is the importance of resilience. Mills explains that setbacks and failures are inevitable, But the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is how they respond. Those who make excuses see failure as a sign to quit, while those who take responsibility see it as a learning experience and use it to come back stronger. He pushes readers to develop an unshakable mindset that refuses to give in to setbacks, reinforcing that obstacles are only as powerful as the excuses one gives them. He also warns against surrounding oneself with excuse makers, explaining that negativity and complacency are contagious, and that if one spends time with people who constantly justify their lack of success, they will inevitably adopt the same mindset. Instead, he encourages readers to seek out those who take action, who push themselves beyond their limits, and who inspire others to do the same. Mills also emphasizes the power of discipline over motivation, arguing that motivation is unreliable because it fluctuates, but discipline ensures that one continues working even when they don't feel like it. He insists that results are all that matter. No one cares about the reasons why something couldn't be done, only whether or not it was achieved. By the end of the chapter, Mills has made it clear that making excuses is a choice, just as finding solutions is a choice. He challenges readers to be honest with themselves, to identify every excuse they have ever used, and to eliminate them entirely, replacing them with a mindset that prioritizes action, solutions, and relentless determination. He leaves readers with a final reminder. No one is going to hand them success, and as long as they keep making excuses, they will remain exactly where they are, stuck in the same cycle of unfulfilled potential. The only way to break free is to stop making excuses, take full control, and commit to finding solutions no matter what stands in their way. Chapter 4: The Power of Consistency. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder is a deep exploration of why sustained effort over time is the ultimate key to success, far more than talent, intelligence, or luck. Mills opens the chapter by emphasizing that while motivation can spark action, it is consistency that produces real results. He explains that most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack the discipline to keep pushing forward day after day, especially when the excitement fades, when progress is slow, or when obstacles arise. He argues that too many people fall into the trap of working hard only when they feel inspired, but true winners understand that success is built on doing the necessary work even when they don't feel like it. Mills points out that inconsistency is one of the biggest reasons people remain stuck in cycles of mediocrity. They start something with enthusiasm, but the moment things become difficult or the rewards are not immediate, they quit or move on to something else, never giving themselves the chance to build true mastery. He introduces the idea that success is not about making massive, sporadic efforts but about showing up every single day and improving by just 1%, understanding that small, consistent actions compound over time into extraordinary results. To illustrate this, he provides examples of athletes, business leaders, and high achievers who have mastered their craft not because of some overnight breakthrough but because of relentless, disciplined effort over years or even decades. Mills emphasizes that every major accomplishment, whether it's building a business, achieving financial freedom, developing a strong body, or mastering a skill, requires thousands of small, often tedious and unglamorous actions done repeatedly over time. He challenges readers to shift their mindset from seeking instant gratification to playing the long game, warning that those who are impatient and constantly looking for shortcuts will never achieve lasting success. He dives into the psychology behind why people struggle with consistency, explaining that the human brain craves novelty and immediate rewards, which is why so many people jump from one goal to the next without sticking to anything long enough to see results. He urges readers to break free from this cycle by creating systems and routines that make discipline a habit rather than a choice, reinforcing the idea that consistency should become a way of life rather than something one forces themselves to do only when convenient. Mills also discusses the importance of setting realistic, sustainable goals rather than relying on extreme short-term bursts of effort that inevitably lead to burnout. He explains that many people fail because they try to do too much too soon, overwhelming themselves with unrealistic expectations and then quitting when they can't sustain it. Instead, he encourages readers to focus on steady, incremental progress, understanding that small daily actions done consistently are far more powerful than intense effort done sporadically. He shares strategies for developing unshakable consistency, such as tracking progress, building accountability systems, and eliminating distractions that lead to inconsistency. One of the most powerful lessons Mills teaches is the idea that success is simply a matter of outlasting everyone else. He explains that while most people give up at the first sign of difficulty, those who commit to unwavering consistency will inevitably surpass their competition over time. He warns against the trap of comparison, reminding readers that their only focus should be on being better than they were yesterday, rather than measuring themselves against others who may be at different stages in their journey. Mills also dives into the role of discipline in maintaining consistency, arguing that relying on motivation alone is one of the biggest mistakes people make. He explains that motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes, and if people depend on it to take action, they will never build the kind of relentless work ethic required for greatness. Instead, he urges readers to develop discipline, which means doing what needs to be done regardless of how they feel. He stresses that success is not about intensity but about endurance, reinforcing that even on the worst days, the people who win are the ones who continue to show up, put in the work, and stay committed to the process. He also addresses the importance of mindset when it comes to consistency, encouraging readers to see the journey as a lifelong commitment rather than a temporary phase. He explains that people often fail because they expect quick results, and when those results don't come fast enough, they lose interest and move on. Instead, he urges readers to embrace the process itself, finding fulfillment in the daily grind rather than just focusing on the end goal. He reminds them that real success is not a destination but a continuous pursuit, and those who adopt a mindset of lifelong improvement will always be ahead of those who are simply looking for quick wins. Mills also touches on the power of habits, explaining that consistency becomes effortless when people build strong routines that remove the need for constant decision-making. He encourages readers to automate their discipline by setting up daily rituals that align with their goals, whether that means waking up early, working out at the same time every day, or dedicating specific hours to their craft. He emphasizes that the more people structure their lives around productive habits, the less they will have to rely on willpower to stay consistent. Mills also discusses the common challenges that threaten consistency, such as setbacks, plateaus, and distractions, explaining that those who succeed are not the ones who never face obstacles but the ones who refuse to let those obstacles break their momentum. He warns that many people quit right before they are about to experience a breakthrough simply because they lose patience or doubt whether their efforts are working. He reminds readers that progress is often invisible in the early stages, and the real test of consistency is whether they can keep going even when they don't immediately see results. He challenges readers to develop a relentless commitment to their goals, understanding that mastery and success are earned through thousands of repetitions, failures, and adjustments over time. By the end of the chapter, Mills has made one thing abundantly clear: consistency is the ultimate superpower. He drives home the message that those who are willing to put in the work every single day, without excuses and without seeking instant gratification, will always rise above those who rely on bursts of effort and fleeting motivation. He leaves readers with a powerful challenge: to commit to their goals with unwavering consistency, to stop waiting for the perfect moment to take action, and to prove to themselves that they have the discipline to keep pushing forward no matter what. He reinforces that the road to success is not about making massive leaps, but about stacking small wins, day after day, until they create unstoppable momentum. Mills ends with a simple but powerful truth: talent, intelligence, and luck may play a role in success, but in the end, the person who refuses to quit, who stays consistent through every challenge, and who keeps working even when no one is watching will always be the one who comes out on top. Chapter 5: Cutting Out Distractions. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work harder is a direct and unapologetic call to action for anyone who struggles with focus and productivity in an age dominated by endless distractions. Mills begins by emphasizing that one of the biggest reasons people fail to achieve their goals is not a lack of talent, intelligence, or ambition, but their inability to focus for extended periods of time. He argues that most people are not operating anywhere near their full potential simply because they allow distractions, both external and internal, to consume their time, energy, and attention. He explains that in today's world, there is an unprecedented level of noise competing for our focus, from social media and entertainment to notifications, emails, and constant interruptions, all of which are designed to steal our attention and keep us from doing the deep, meaningful work that leads to success. Mills challenges readers to take a brutally honest look at how much time they waste daily on mindless scrolling, pointless conversations, and unproductive activities, and he argues that every wasted moment is time that could have been spent improving, building, and working toward their goals. He stresses that success is not just about working hard, it's about working smart and eliminating everything that does not contribute to progress. He makes it clear that high achievers are not necessarily the hardest workers, but the ones who have mastered the ability to focus relentlessly on what matters while cutting out everything that doesn't. He introduces the concept of attention as currency, explaining that whatever people choose to focus on is what they are effectively investing in, and those who waste their attention on distractions are essentially robbing themselves of the future they could be building. Mills breaks down the science behind distractions, explaining that the human brain is wired to seek novelty and instant gratification, which is why people struggle to stay focused on difficult, long-term tasks when easier, more pleasurable alternatives, such as scrolling through social media or watching TV, are readily available. He emphasizes that those who succeed are the ones who learn to override these impulses and train their brains to stay disciplined even in a world designed to break their concentration. To illustrate this, he provides examples of highly successful individuals who have structured their lives to minimize distractions, such as top athletes who eliminate unnecessary social activities to focus on training, entrepreneurs who schedule deep work sessions without interruptions, and artists who remove themselves from digital noise to immerse themselves fully in their craft. Mills then provides readers with a practical framework for cutting out distractions and reclaiming their focus. The first step, he explains, is identifying personal distractions, which vary for everyone but often include excessive social media use, television, video games, unproductive conversations, or a cluttered and disorganized work environment. He encourages readers to conduct a distraction audit, tracking how they spend their time each day to expose where they are losing valuable hours. He argues that most people grossly underestimate how much time they waste and that once they see the numbers in front of them, it becomes painfully clear why they aren't making progress. The next step, according to Mills, is implementing strict boundaries to protect one's focus. He stresses the importance of turning off notifications, setting designated work periods without interruptions, and even going as far as deleting time-wasting apps or setting up website blockers to prevent digital distractions. He makes it clear that self-discipline is not about willpower alone. It's about creating an environment that makes distractions impossible. He also addresses social distractions, arguing that one of the biggest threats to focus is being surrounded by people who do not respect one's goals and ambitions. He warns that unmotivated friends, needy acquaintances, or negative individuals can drain energy, break momentum, and pull people away from their priorities. Mills encourages readers to be ruthless about their social circles, limiting time with those who contribute nothing to their growth and surrounding themselves with individuals who push them to be better. He discusses the importance of protecting one's mental space, explaining that distractions are not just external but also internal. Self-doubt, overthinking, unnecessary worry, and a lack of clear priorities can all derail focus. He teaches readers how to create mental clarity by setting clear goals, breaking tasks into actionable steps, and maintaining a strong sense of purpose that keeps them motivated even when distractions try to creep in. Mills also highlights the role of energy management in cutting out distractions, explaining that when people are physically and mentally drained, they are far more likely to seek out distractions as a way to escape discomfort. He emphasizes the importance of proper sleep, nutrition, and exercise in maintaining high levels of focus and urges readers to take care of their bodies so that they have the stamina to stay locked in on their goals. One of the most powerful concepts Mills introduces in this chapter is deep work, a state of total immersion where one's mind is fully engaged in a meaningful task without any distractions. He explains that the most successful individuals in every field are those who have mastered deep work, as this is where real breakthroughs, creative insights, and massive progress happen. He encourages readers to set aside blocks of time for deep, undisturbed focus, treating these sessions as sacred and non-negotiable. Mills also tackles the common excuse of, "I just get easily distracted," arguing that focus is a skill that can be trained like a muscle. He encourages readers to start with small increments of focused work and gradually increase their ability to concentrate for longer periods. He reminds them that the ability to focus deeply is one of the rarest and most valuable skills in the modern world, and those who master it will always have a competitive advantage. By the end of the chapter, Mills has made it abundantly clear that distractions are the enemy of success and that those who fail to control their attention will never reach their full potential. He leaves readers with a final challenge: to take full responsibility for their focus, to cut out every distraction that does not serve their goals, and to create an environment that forces them to stay locked in on what truly matters. He reinforces that in a world where everyone is constantly distracted, the rare few who learn to focus relentlessly will always be the ones who rise above the rest and achieve extraordinary success. Chapter 6: Pushing Beyond Limits. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder is a powerful, no-nonsense lesson on breaking past self-imposed barriers and realizing one's full potential by refusing to accept limits, whether physical, mental, or emotional. Mills begins by challenging the reader's perception of limitations, arguing that most people operate at only a fraction of their true capacity because they have convinced themselves that they can only go so far, do so much, or endure so much discomfort before giving up. He explains that limits are almost always mental rather than physical, created by fear, self-doubt, and the subconscious desire for comfort and security. He introduces the idea that success is reserved for those who refuse to let these perceived limits define them, those who continuously push themselves beyond what they thought was possible, and those who refuse to settle for mediocrity. Mills dismantles the myth that people are born with fixed potential, asserting that the only way to grow and improve is to consistently push past pain, fatigue, and self-imposed barriers. He provides real-world examples of athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders who have achieved greatness not because they were naturally gifted, but because they learned to push through exhaustion, setbacks, and challenges that would have broken the average person. He highlights stories of individuals who kept going when everything in them screamed to stop, reinforcing that the key to success lies in one's ability to endure suffering, discomfort, and failure without quitting. Mills explains that the human body and mind are capable of far more than people realize, but most never tap into their full power because they stop at the first sign of struggle. He introduces the 40% rule, a concept used by Navy SEALs, which states that when people feel like they have reached their limit, they are actually only at about 40% of their true capacity, meaning they still have 60% left in the tank. He urges readers to adopt this mindset in their own lives, refusing to give in when they feel tired, overwhelmed, or defeated. He emphasizes that growth only happens when people push themselves past their comfort zones, and that true progress begins when one steps into discomfort and embraces it rather than avoiding it. Mills argues that most people never reach their full potential because they quit too soon, settling for good enough, instead of striving for greatness. He describes how high achievers train themselves to become comfortable with discomfort, learning to thrive in situations that would break the average person. He stresses that whether it's in business, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, the ability to push beyond perceived limits is what separates winners from everyone else. He introduces the concept of mental toughness, explaining that success is not about having perfect conditions, unlimited resources, or even superior talent. It's about having the mindset to keep going no matter how difficult things get. He emphasizes that setbacks and obstacles are inevitable, but the ability to push through them determines one's ultimate level of success. He challenges readers to stop looking for easy paths and instead embrace the struggle, understanding that every challenge is an opportunity to build resilience and strength. Mills discusses the importance of self-discipline in pushing beyond limits, explaining that relying on motivation alone is a recipe for failure because motivation is fleeting, but discipline ensures that progress continues even when things get hard. He urges readers to train themselves to take action regardless of how they feel, developing the ability to override emotions and excuses in favor of consistent effort. He warns against the trap of seeking shortcuts, arguing that true success comes from doing the hard, repetitive work that most people are unwilling to do. He emphasizes that those who push themselves beyond their limits are the ones who refuse to let circumstances dictate their success. They take full responsibility for their growth and refuse to let setbacks define them. He discusses the power of resilience, explaining that those who succeed are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who fail and keep going anyway. He encourages readers to reframe failure as a necessary part of the journey rather than a reason to stop, emphasizing that every failure is simply feedback that brings them one step closer to mastery. Mills also stresses the importance of raising personal standards, arguing that people perform at the level they accept for themselves. He challenges readers to stop settling for average effort and instead demand more from themselves in every area of life. He explains that when people set higher expectations for themselves, whether in their work ethic, discipline, or mindset, they begin to push beyond their previous limits because they refuse to accept anything less. He warns against the dangers of complacency, explaining that the moment people become comfortable is the moment they stop growing. He introduces the idea that one must always be chasing the next level, constantly pushing further and demanding more from themselves, never allowing stagnation to take hold. He emphasizes that pushing beyond limits is not about making one big leap, it's about consistently showing up, putting in the work and refusing to quit, even when progress feels slow. He encourages readers to develop the habit of asking themselves, "Can I do more?" and then challenging themselves to go just a little further every time. Whether it's running one more mile, making one more phone call, putting in one more hour of work, or resisting the urge to quit for just one more day, these small efforts add up over time and lead to extraordinary results. Mills discusses the role of environment in pushing beyond limits, explaining that the people one surrounds themselves with can either push them higher or hold them back. He warns that being around those who settle for mediocrity will make it harder to push beyond limits, while being around those who demand excellence will force one to rise to the occasion. He encourages readers to seek out individuals who challenge them, who refuse to let them make excuses, and who push them to be better every single day. He also stresses the importance of self-talk and pushing past perceived barriers, explaining that the way one speaks to themselves determines how far they are willing to go. He urges readers to replace self-doubt and negative thoughts with a mindset of relentless determination, constantly reinforcing the belief that they are capable of more. He warns against the trap of thinking, "I've done enough," explaining that high achievers never accept enough. They always push for more because they know that growth never stops. Mills provides strategies for pushing beyond limits, such as setting audacious goals, creating accountability systems, and training the mind and body to endure discomfort. He encourages readers to take on challenges that scare them, understanding that fear is a sign of growth and that the only way to become stronger is to face it head-on. He makes it clear that the biggest breakthroughs come from stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and proving to oneself that they are capable of more than they ever imagined. By the end of the chapter, Mills has driven home the message that limits are nothing more than illusions, and those who achieve greatness are the ones who refuse to accept them. He challenges readers to stop waiting for the right conditions, stop settling for what feels comfortable, and start pushing themselves to levels they once thought were impossible. He reminds them that success is not reserved for the talented or the lucky, it belongs to those who are willing to suffer, to struggle, and to keep pushing forward even when everything in them wants to quit. He leaves readers with a final challenge: to wake up every day with the mindset that they are capable of more, to demand more from themselves, and to push past every barrier that stands in their way, because at the end of the day, the only real limits are the ones they refuse to break. Chapter 7: Success is Earned, Not Given. In Terry Mills' Nobody Cares. Work Harder delivers a blunt, unfiltered truth: success is never handed to anyone. It is fought for, sacrificed for, and earned through relentless effort, discipline, and perseverance. Mills dismantles the common misconception that people are entitled to success simply because they desire it, emphasizing that success is not a birthright, nor is it guaranteed by talent, intelligence, or ambition alone. Instead, it is the result of consistent, disciplined action over time, often in the face of adversity, setbacks, and discomfort. He argues that too many people operate with a sense of entitlement, believing they should be rewarded simply for showing up or putting in minimal effort, but the reality is that success is reserved only for those who are willing to do what others won't. He stresses that in every field, business, sports, personal growth, or creative endeavors, those who rise to the top are the ones who outwork, outlast, and outperform their competition, refusing to rely on luck, handouts, or external validation. Mills highlights that success is built on sacrifice. It requires giving up comfort, social distractions, excuses, and instant gratification in favor of long-term goals. He illustrates this by pointing to the world's top performers, from elite athletes who train obsessively while others sleep to entrepreneurs who spend years grinding in obscurity before achieving their breakthroughs. He makes it clear that while people admire successful individuals for their achievements, they often fail to recognize the years of hardship, discipline, and failures that paved the way. Mills warns against the trap of comparing oneself to successful individuals without acknowledging the unseen effort behind their accomplishments, reinforcing that nobody gets lucky at the highest levels. Every win is earned. He urges readers to adopt a mindset of extreme ownership, meaning they must take full responsibility for their results, whether good or bad, and stop blaming circumstances, other people, or lack of opportunities. He argues that the most dangerous mindset is waiting for someone else to provide success, whether it be through handouts, shortcuts, or easy opportunities, because those who depend on external forces to create success will always be at the mercy of factors beyond their control. He challenges readers to shift their thinking from "I deserve success" to "I will earn success," reinforcing that every decision, every action, and every sacrifice contributes to the end result. Mills discusses the importance of resilience, explaining that setbacks and failures are inevitable, but those who truly earn success are the ones who keep going when others give up. He highlights that success is not a one-time event but a continuous process that requires daily effort, discipline, and unwavering commitment. He ends the chapter with a powerful reminder: success does not care about excuses, and it will never be given freely. It belongs only to those who wake up every day ready to put in the work, make the sacrifices, and prove through action that they are worthy of it. Conclusion. In the conclusion of Nobody Cares. Work Harder, Terry Mills delivers a final, hard-hitting message that reinforces the core principles of the book. Success is earned through relentless effort, discipline, and the ability to push beyond limits, no matter the circumstances. He reminds readers that there are no shortcuts, no handouts, and no easy paths to greatness. Only those who are willing to sacrifice, endure discomfort, and stay consistent will achieve extraordinary results. Mills emphasizes that the biggest obstacle standing in the way of success is not external challenges, but the internal mindset that allows excuses, distractions, and self-doubt to take control. He challenges readers to take full responsibility for their progress, to stop waiting for the perfect moment, and to take massive action, starting now. He argues that most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunities, but because they lack the grit to keep pushing when things get hard. He reminds them that every successful individual has faced failure, rejection, and moments of doubt, but what separates them from everyone else is their refusal to quit. Mills reinforces the idea that the journey to success is not supposed to be easy, nor is it meant to feel comfortable. True growth happens in discomfort, in the moments when quitting seems like the only option, but pushing forward anyway is the only way to win. He encourages readers to develop an unshakable work ethic, to eliminate distractions, to demand more from themselves every single day, and to recognize that the only real limits are the ones they allow to exist. He warns against the dangers of complacency, emphasizing that the moment one stops striving for more is the moment they start falling behind. Mills reminds readers that success is not a destination but a lifelong process of continuous improvement, and those who truly want it must wake up every day with the mindset of earning it, not expecting it. He urges them to embrace hardship as part of the journey, to view setbacks as opportunities to grow stronger, and to develop the resilience needed to withstand life's inevitable challenges. He leaves readers with a final, powerful challenge: to stop talking about what they want and start proving it through action, to cut out every excuse, every distraction, and every limiting belief, and to approach each day with the intensity and determination of someone who refuses to accept anything less than their absolute best. Mills makes it clear that at the end of the day nobody cares about the struggles, the complaints, or the reasons why something didn't work out. What matters is the effort, the persistence, and the willingness to work harder than everyone else. He ends with the ultimate truth that defines the entire book: success belongs only to those who are willing to earn it, and the only way to get there is to put in the work, stay consistent, and never stop pushing forward, no matter what obstacles stand in the way.